Hey, ¿qué pasa, Calexico? Welcome back to the podcast. Before we begin today, like always, I want to thank my sponsors. Well, actually, this week I don't have any anchor sponsors, so if you want to support the podcast, make sure you go to my sponsor page. I'll leave a link. Well, the link's always on the description of the podcast, but I'll leave a link on my Facebook and everywhere, social media, if you want to sponsor the podcast. But I want to thank David Gastelum. If you're thinking of buying and selling a home in the Imperial or San Diego counties, make sure you contact David Gastelum. He's not only a realtor, but he's an investor with over 20 years of experience. His number is 760-235-9576. Make sure you give him a call. I also want to thank our friends here at Calexico Brewing Company for allowing us to record today's episode here. I also want to make sure that everybody is following Calexico Oktoberfest. This is an event being put out by Calexico, City of Calexico and Calexico Brewing Company. It's happening this Saturday, October 5th. Make sure you follow them on Instagram. It's at Calexico Oktoberfest, October spelled with a K. They're having a lot of great breweries come down here. Breweries like Ballast Point, Alpine Beer, the Belching Beaver, just to name a few, and also including Calexico Brewing Company is going to be there. It's going to be a family event, so make sure you stop by. Also, follow them on Instagram so you can get more info as to tickets, food vendors, and all the good stuff that's happening that day. So, thank you once again, Calexico Brewing Company, for allowing me to record today's episode here today. All right, today for episode 52, I have the Tocayo,
the 52, huh?
Yeah, fellow podcaster and stand-up comedian Jose Cital. Thank you for being here today.
No, thanks for having me, man. Yo, at 52. Wow, I think I started like 2 years before you, and I'm really like at 20 or something.
Oh, really? Yeah, I've been kind of like hitting it, good. Like, been trying to be consistent and putting one every week.
That's awesome, yeah.
And it's come a long way, and people are a lot of people have reached out and like, hey, I know so and so that could be good for your podcast,
Yeah. The more consistent you are, the easier that happens. Yeah, because I was like that too. But then I kind of slowed down. The past couple of years have been pretty tough on me.
Yeah, and like always, I want to give you the chance to tell us a little bit about yourself. Every time I start a podcast, I let my guests, tell us a little bit about who they are and what they do and, what story and stuff like that.
Yeah, like that, I do comedy shows. Mainly, now I actually we have our own booking agency now. Like, it's Keggercast Entertainment.
Oh, wow.
We book comedians for shows here in Imperial County and in Yuma. And then I have the podcast. Like that, the podcast kind of slowed down a little bit because I was laid off from my regular job. It'll be 2 years this month. And so you know how life is. You either have money or time, or you need both to do certain things. And unfortunately, when I've had a little bit of money, I hadn't had the time, and when I had the time, I didn't have any money. So it's just been a little tough, man. But yeah, so we've been putting on shows though in Yuma and here in the Valley, and we actually have a few shows coming up October. We have a show in Yuma at the Whiskey Road Saloon, Friday, October 4th at 9 p.m. We'll have Neil Singh, Benji Garcia Reyes, and Brendan Pranowitz. Mm-hmm. They're all from San Diego. They're going to be performing there. And then the very next day, we're going to have some performers at the Oktoberfest, here, Calexico Oktoberfest, here in October 5th. And that'll be Benji Garcia Reyes and Brendan Pranowitz and me. Will be performing at the Oktoberfest that day. And we are always open to sponsors if anyone wants to sponsor us. Mm-hmm. We do have we're also available for private parties and corporate events. We do birthdays, weddings, anniversaries, retirements, promotions, roast. If you want to roast someone, we can set that up too. Our prices depend on what type of comedians you want. You want local, you want San Diego, you want LA. We have connections with all those areas.
Wow.
Like we have comedians that have TV credits, and stuff like that. So
how did you get started with comedy?
I've always tried to be funny. I always thought I was funny, and I wasn't a class clown or anything. I I'm actually like more shy when like you normally.
Yeah, I think that's what kind of like surprised me when I found out, because I've known you for a long time. Back in the CYBL days when you were with Guillermo and stuff like that. So and I remember you being like kind of like a shy, quiet person. So when I saw you like doing stand up, I'm like, it seemed kind of I don't know, like it didn't seem like your thing.
Yeah,
but I mean, you're really good at it.
Oh,
but yeah, I was a little bit taken by surprise that you were into it.
Yeah, no, I've always loved comedy. Growing up, even as a kid, I was a big Robin Williams fan since like Mork and Mindy. And then when I saw my parents got HBO and I saw him on HBO, oh my God, he does something other than Mork and Mindy. He's not just Mork,
Yeah.
And then like I was a big Kids in the Hall fan.
Yeah, that show was cool.
So yeah, and I always like I wasn't always like showing off trying to be funny all the time, but like at work when things would something would catch me and I felt I could say something this and I'll say it. And one day a supervisor, we were gonna have like a staff meeting or something, and she thought about it was gonna be close to lunch, so she thought, why don't we do like lunch, a comedy hour with the funniest people in the office, and they asked me if I would be willing to perform, and I said, yeah, I'll do it, yeah.
So that was like your first, kind of like stand up like performance.
Yeah,
at work?
performing at a lunch thing. I got the best response, and even then I was like, because I was afraid to say like certain, can I say this?
Yeah, especially at work, right?
Yeah, and then and after that we went to some of the shows that I don't know if you remember Papa Chulo.
No.
Tony. What's his last? Diaz? No, Tony. Oh my God, Perez. Tony Perez. He used to be a promoter here, local. And we went to one of his shows, and he was trying to have like an open mic. He said, "Oh, anyone wants to do it?" So I said, "Well, I'll go up if someone else does," but no one else did. And then the first guy came on was a local comedian, and my coworker happened to go with me, and she was like, "Hey, you're funnier than this guy. You should have gone up." So the next time I had an opportunity for an open mic at Tony's next comedy show, I went up. And that was supposed to be a contest, and if you won, we got $50 plus we got to open up for the Operation Repo guys. So
is that like a comedy club? Like
you remember that TV show, Operation Repo?
Yeah.
So the two guys, Froy and what's the other guy's name?
But they do stand up?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So they were gonna come here and they hosted the show, but they do like they're together. They're on at the same time.
Oh, okay.
Like a comedy duo type thing. And so for that contest, it was just me and one other guy. The first guy went up. He didn't even really do comedy. Like he didn't say anything. He just went up there and did barn animal noises.
What?
Like, like that. So then I go up there. And my very first joke was, okay, unfortunately, I don't do impressions like the first guy. So right off there, I think I won. Right? And then so I won automatically, basically. And in fact, because there was only the two of us, Tony was like, "Hey, I know it's 50. I said $50, but since there's only two of you, can I give you 25?" So yeah.
But you got to open for the Operation Report?
Yeah, so I got to open up for them. And then I did good. I got good response there, and so that from there, Tony started inviting me to perform more and stuff.
So this is how long ago?
Now 9 years ago in November, August. Actually, 9 years.
Wow. So you've been doing stand up since then?
Yeah, about 9 years.
And I think recently you've been doing it more like outside of the valley, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Even though I've been doing it for 9 years, it's been very off and on because the valley doesn't have very many stage opportunities. And when they come up, they're kind of hard fought because there's a lot of people that want stage time. And but like I said, I've been bringing guys from LA and San Diego, and Benji Garcia Reyes. He's performed here quite a bit with one of the promoters here. Actually, I'm not sure if he performed with Tony or not. But I brought him a couple of times, and he's the one that's been inviting me to San Diego to perform.
Oh, okay.
So I've been doing some shows in San Diego lately, and I actually got to perform in LA in June. because another buddy of mine hooked me up with the LA Comedy Festival out there.
Oh, wow.
So they had me go out there, and I actually I even interviewed some of the comedians for the podcast and stuff. So that's pretty cool. Yeah.
What's your feeling when people tell you, "Oh, can you tell me a joke?"
Oh, I know. I hate that. Yeah, because like they'll say, "Oh, you do comedy," and they go, "Yeah," and they go, "Oh, well, tell me a joke." Yeah. And my response is always, "Yeah, these aren't Pepito jokes or knock jokes, man. It's different. There's a certain atmosphere and stuff that's different." And yeah, usually I'll tell them a joke, and it's always the same response. They'll be like, "Oh, okay, well, good luck with that." Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's like people that don't really watch stand up. They feel like, especially here in the Valley, where we're used to. I think the Mexican comedy is more like that, where it's like, they tell quick jokes.
Yeah.
So they're used to that, that kind of comedy, but they don't really know what that stand up is like. You build up, that joke, right? Or the because normally stand up, like to me, stand up is you're telling kind of like real life stories, but over exaggerated.
Yeah.
Like, and I had people tell me that because I know I did stand up a couple of times. Yeah. And yeah, when they heard that I was doing at work, they're like, "Oh, tell me a joke." I'm like, "Really? Like, no, that's not how it works." Yeah. But yeah, going back to like not throwing the show to me, but when I did stand up, it was like the first time was when I did it over at the
Saka.
Yeah. And yeah, I was like,
"You got your spots. I think you did well, man."
Yeah, I mean, it was my first time, and the only reason I did it was because I opened my mouth and I told my friends, "Oh, I'm gonna do stand up," and they're like, and people coming from Palm Desert and stuff.
Just to see you.
I was like, I have to do it now. Like I can't back out. So yeah, for my first time I did it, I think I did pretty good.
Yeah. No, yeah, like you had some of that. Like that's what I like to like you. And I even told you this when you were on the Keggercast. Like, man, you have a perfect comedy to do. Like, have a niche comedy, like the little geeky comedy, talk about the anime and computer tech world, whatever. I thought you had great jokes for that.
Yeah, because like I said, like stand up is kind of like your experiences, but a little bit over exaggerated. So like kind of like I mean, for me, stand up, I've always liked it since I was a little kid. I used to watch freaking some of the people I watched was like the SNL guys, like Dana Carvey or Sandler or stuff like that. So like I always felt like I think I could do it. So like when I did, I was like, it's not that bad, but I feel that here in the Valley, since like I was telling Robert right now, is that you that are going out to other places, you kind of like you can do the same skit and kind of like modify it and kind of clean it up so that whenever you do it again, like here in the Valley, or whatever, it's already cleaned up and it's you know where to do the punchline and stuff like that. It's hard to do stand up here in the Valley because, like, at least for me, it's kind of hard to do come up with new material all the time. Right. And if you do the same one, people are gonna be like, "Well, I heard that the last time I saw you."
But when I did the Operation Repo show, I actually did two different ones with him. I think it was we did one in I think it was in September, and then that show did so well that they came back like in November, and Tony asked me to open up again for them. And in November, the headliner was a guy named James Price. He passed away already, but that guy, we did two shows, and after the first show, like the intermission, he called me. No, I think it was the first show actually. It was on the September one. So he called me into the green room, and then he said, "Hey," so he goes, I was listening to your set out there. He said, "Yeah, you got some good jokes." He said, "You're still," he goes, "you need to be more confident in them," because that was my first time, really. And then he said, "But you have some good jokes." He goes, "And if you're serious about this, I want to help you, And so he gave me some advice, and one of the things that obviously the one that stuck the most, he said, "Keep your good jokes. If you get good response, say them as often as you can." He goes, "Even if you've already said it, he'll say it like it's the first time you said it." He goes, "Because you can't come up with new ones every day."
I was watching the the Amazing Jonathan.
Oh yeah.
I was watching his documentary. I don't know if you've seen it.
No, I didn't want to watch that one.
and he came back, after being away for a while. He came back, and his set was basically the same thing he did back in the 90s. Like they did a side by side, and it's like the exact same thing. So yeah, I mean, like it's something that I guess good comics do. Like they keep their good jokes. But yeah, sometimes it's like, what? We already heard this.
I was hosting at the end of 2016. I was hosting an open mic night at the Pentagonal, and I remember it was like, I think it was like the first Thursday of every month or something like that, but it was once a month. Mm-hmm. And I remember one time I went out there and I started my because the host, I opened up, I would do my set, and then I remember hearing a guy in the front row say, "I heard this one last time," or he said the same joke last time. So I was like, "Hey, thanks for remembering, man. Thanks for coming back.
Thanks for paying attention, right?" But yeah, who do you think is like, other than like the big names, like who do you think is like one of the most underrated comics right now?
Underrated. Well, I think they're underrated, but I guess they're kind of big. But I think they should be bigger names. I guess it's probably what like I think Anthony Jeselnik is like one of the best around it, but I don't think he's really a household name.
Yeah,
but I think he should be. I really like his dry humor and stuff. We just finished watching the new Bill Burr special.
I haven't seen it.
I like Bill Burr.
Yeah, he's good.
And but yeah, we've actually brought up a few comics here too, especially to Yuma. And actually, we had some shows at the Humble Farmer too. There's a Davey Wester. I don't know if you heard him.
No,
he's a comedian. He's a headliner, but he's a comedian with cerebral palsy. So that guy's hilarious.
But he uses his disability to.
Yeah, and then he's a redneck. Probably, so he's really good. Like he'll, I think the first time we brought him out, people thought he was drunk before he had just gotten there, but just because he had his condition, and he making jokes about that. That was funny, yeah. And then we brought Anthony DeSamito. That guy, like he's like, I think he's gonna peak. He's like. He's blowing up right now. Mm-hmm. He's been on TV. He actually recorded a pilot for like TBS. Oh wow. And the thing is, he was born in Mexicali.
Oh really?
And he lived here in Calexico till he was like 5, and then he graduated from Yuma High School.
Oh wow.
So
what's his name?
Anthony DeSamito. Yeah. Okay. So DeSamito. Yeah. But he's really good, and he's a gay comedian, and so he jokes about that. And he's funny. He's really good.
Have you had a chance to watch the guys from Mexicali, Chicali stand up?
Only when they performed at the Can You Do Stand Up in Brawley. Uh-huh. There was 2 or 3 that came over that performed that, and they were pretty good. There was Yolanda with one of them.
Oh yeah.
And I can't remember the other guy's name, and the guy actually is one that won first place that time.
Was it Julio Ver or Eder?
I think the first one.
Julio Ver Gonzalez.
I think so. I think that yeah.
Because I interviewed Eder, and that guy's really good. He's been doing really good in Mexicali, and then he's gone to like Ensenada, and like I think he won a contest in Tijuana, and then he was featured in this big event in Ensenada and stuff. Like he's doing really good.
I've been wanting to go do those open mics in Mexicali, because Yolanda even told me, "Oh, you should come even if you don't know Spanish. It doesn't have to be in Spanish." She goes, "Like I know Gil went there and he did his whole set in English."
Yeah, I went with him that one time. I think that's the last time I did stand up, because I went to Mexicali and I tried to
translate.
And it doesn't work. And I bombed, and I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna do this. and then Gil went up and did his set in English, and I'm like, dude, I should have done mine in English, because he had people cracking up, because a lot of the people that were most of the guys that are in the Chicali stand up work at Telvista, that they're like a call center.
Oh, okay.
So they most of them speak English.
Oh, okay.
So like when they were there, we were at that place. It was a lot of the coworkers, so they all spoke English. So when Gil did his skit in in English, like people were cracking up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was like, nah, man, I should have. If I would have known, like, I think even that I don't remember if Chris, because Chris went with us that one time, Arellano.
Yeah.
I don't know if he did it in Spanish.
Oh, I think he did it in Spanish.
And he had people laughing, but I think with Chris is different because his is like it's more he does a lot of like punchlines or like the short jokes.
Oh yeah.
And he had people cracking up on his jokes, but some of his jokes are a little bit raunchy. People were like why should I laugh or no? But I was gonna ask you, what do you think? Because a lot of comedians, from what I heard, they don't like George Lopez. What's your?
You know what? I actually seen him live, and I liked it. I can see why some people don't like him. I know Gil is one of the ones that you say like he remember. I guess he's heard his stuff before he became famous, and after he became famous, it was more family friendly or something, that type of thing. But I don't think I've ever really heard his raunchier stuff. I think it's funny. I like him.
Yeah, because I don't know. I think the time when I was doing stand up, somebody brought him up, and they were like they didn't really they got a bad reaction from like they're like nah screw that guy, like he's not funny or whatever. But I think he's funny, but and I mean it's kind of hard like for people to think like oh he's a sellout but I mean at the end of the day, like if you would make it big and they ask you like to clean up your act, like if they're paying you, you're obviously gonna do it, right? So I mean it's kind of hard like to judge people like oh yeah he's a sellout because he's trying to clean up his act, but I mean at the end of the day, like if it's making you money, you're gonna I think the comic that I don't really like that he's kind of popular is Fluffy.
Oh yeah, actually I think I think George Lopez is better than Fluffy, and I think Felipe Esparza is funnier.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna go
Fluffy.
watch him.
I like him. He's hilarious. I saw him when he played here at the Barbara Worth Country Club. Yeah, a few years back. Yeah, he was good. He's good. Yeah, I like him.
Yeah, I think that is whole. I don't know if he's like that in real life, where he's like kind of like he seems like he's high or drunk. His demeanor. He
smokes a lot. Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know if it's part of his act, but he's really really funny. I think we're gonna go watch him. But the only thing is like me and my friend had tickets, but we're trying to like decide if we stay here and go to the Oktoberfest because it's that same day. Or go watch that guy. So we're like, man, should we sell the tickets or? So yeah, we just realized that yesterday that it was the same day as the Oktoberfest. So we're like undecided.
Dude, you gotta go watch me instead of Felipe, dude. What the hell, dude?
I think we're gonna try and sell them. So if somebody's out there,
well, just so you know that we're only doing 10-minute sets. It's 3 because we're going to perform between bands.
Oh, okay.
Is what it is, and it's only 3 of us, so we're each going to do like 10 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So it's Brandon, then Benji, and then me. I'm gonna be
you're closer.
Yeah, because Benji and Brendan, they're gonna go back to San Diego that night.
Oh, okay.
Benji actually is he's been on like Univision and stuff, and he actually was invited to audition for Saturday Night Live Mexico when they were going to do it. So
they had a Saturday Night Live in Mexico?
Apparently, yeah. Apparently they were going to. I don't know if it ever happened or not, but yeah, they had him audition for it. They invited him to audition.
Oh, well, I guess he didn't, because otherwise I would have.
Yeah,
I would have known.
I don't know if it ever happened or not, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it happened because I mean that would have been. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it would have been big, but. If it would have happened, I think we would have heard by now.
I was just wondering, like, maybe if it was just like a pilot and it didn't get picked up type of thing, but he actually was invited to audition for it. Yeah,
because I think in Mexico they have a lot of kind of like skit comedy on TV.
Yeah, and I think it was 2013 or something like that when that happened. It was a few years back, obviously.
Mm-hmm. So you have your cards and anything that?
Well, I'd like to give a shout out to my sponsors. That's okay. So we have TNT Anger Management Services. They're an online anger management services based out of Westlake, California. They do it like through Skype or whatever. Their anger management services. Their website is tntams.com. And then we have American Satellites, which is a veteran-owned business in Yuma, Arizona. They're a Dish authorized dealer, and they serve Yuma and Imperial counties. You can reach them at their phone number is 928-345-1229, and their website is www.amsatyuma.com. And then our third sponsor is Plazola and Sons Bar. They're a bar here in Calexico. It's 120 West Sherman Street. It's a cash-only bar, unfortunately, but they're open Wednesday through Saturday, 5 p.m. through 2 p.m. 2 a.m. And then we sometimes have open mics out there too.
Yeah.
So, if you guys follow the Keggercast on Facebook, or YouTube.
You have Instagram
and Twitter, and you'll see that we post there when we're gonna have the open mics over there.
Yeah, I think that people should keep. I mean, if you're thinking of doing, stand up or something, like I think that's a good opportunity to kind of like try it out and see if it's something that, that if you're thinking about it, it's something that kind of like, if it's a bucket list like mine was, like it's a good place to try out your comedy.
Yeah, and if you want, if you're into comedy and you're interested in stage time and stuff, again, it's not only the open mic, but like I said, we book comedy shows here in the Valley and in Yuma, and that'd be a good spot to impress us and say, hey, maybe we'll invite you and have you open up one of our shows. And that's another thing that about us with the Keggercast Entertainment, we make sure our talent gets compensated, because I don't want to say names or anything, but we do. There are people that take advantage of local talent, and they just say, basically, I'm letting you perform, and that's why I started actually trying to book my own stuff. Now is one time I did a performance. It was all local guys. And we didn't have water provided to us. We had to pay for our water at the event, our event, So that's why they go, no, you know what? That's not.
Yeah,
right.
I mean,
that's not cool, man.
I mean, at the end of the day, like, I think most people that are doing stand up for like a living, maybe even here in the Valley, like, it's not, you can't do it for free. It's hard to. I mean, it's a struggle. You know?
Yeah.
So I mean, to even like ask you to pay for water, that's kind of bad.
That's why we started doing this. And then I mentioned the open mics. Just right now, before we start recording, I was speaking to Robert here, and he's interested in having an open mic night here at Calexico Brewery. So hopefully we'll start doing that soon, and that's going to be, we're planning on making it on Wednesday nights.
Okay.
So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's something different that people should. I mean, I think that if you've ever like even thought about doing stand up, I think you should do it because it's a good experience.
Yeah.
Especially if you're somebody that's not good in speaking in public. Yeah. That's a good way to kind of like get the jitters out. An open mic.
Yeah, and it's not just gonna be comedy. I mean, if you're into music and stuff too, because the One Plus All bar, usually it's just me and my son, because almost no one goes there. We've had a few times when we had like Bill Hodge show up.
Oh, okay.
And then we've had random people that have performed, but usually it's just me and my son. And my son is a musician,
okay.
So he sings, he'll play guitar and sing, or he'll have his beats and rap. So it's usually just us, and hopefully, like I said, having it here, maybe we can build it up a little more. And before we get off, I just want to thank you again for having me on, dude, because I reached out to you. I was like, hey, man, ¿qué pasa Calexico? Dude, I'm in Calexico. I pasa.
No, I think that the reason why I kind of like, forgot about you was because I was on Keggercast. Yeah. And it was we did it at my house with my stuff. So like I kind of like for some reason I thought that that you were on but it was me on your podcast. Yeah. So like I was like I thought I already had you on and then I checked. I'm like oh shit I haven't had you. So I was like let's do it. Let's get together and I know I know that you're doing your comedy and stuff, and I kind of wanted to help you out and promote and kind of like let people know that there's this going on, so that people a lot of times we kind of like say, oh, there's nothing going on in Calexico, but if we really look, we'll find things like this, or the brewery where people can come and hang out.
Yeah, like I said, we're looking for sponsors. Always, contact us for sponsors. Like I said, we're on Facebook, on Instagram, Twitter. Our website, our email is thekeggercast@gmail.com, and we're also if you want to. We can book your parties. We can book comedians for their, like I said, birthdays, weddings, anniversaries, promotions, retirements. Even corporate events and stuff. So reach out to us.
No, I think it's a good way to like whenever you're having a party, like comedy. It's something that's it's not a common thing, but I think it's really a good idea to like have a comedian while people are hanging out, drinking and stuff like that. I think it's it'll be something different that your guests will enjoy. I'm sure. We have done some private parties that they've been happy with and invited us back for other stuff. So hopefully we can pick this up. Yeah.
And then, like you said, people do complain in the valley about not having things to do, and reach out to your bar, your favorite bar, your favorite restaurant, and tell them, hey, bring some comedians too. Mm-hmm. They like to have musicians all the time and stuff, but you rarely have comics.
Yeah. I think sometimes it's like the times that I've taken my wife to like the comedy shows that I've done, and we invite friends. They're like, oh, this is really fun. Like, you shouldn't do it more often. I'm like, yeah, well, there's really not that many places like promoting or doing these kinds of events. So like, if there was more like you said, more bars and stuff like that that would do it. I think that people would come by, because sometimes when you have a bar where there's like loud music, you can't really talk. Yeah. But when there's comedy, like there's that time in between the comedians where you can like kind of like critique or talk about the comics, or I think it's a good way to spend like a Saturday night or Friday night after work.
Yeah, like that. Like that. Even if, let's say, the bar has a house band or something, but you're right. Like maybe have a comedian to introduce the house band or something, just for do a 10-minute set.
Yeah, in between, and then in between they take breaks and stuff. Yeah, a couple guys come in and do some sets. And stuff.
And I can see why it's more popular, because bands can get away with doing covers, comedians can't, except unless you're
Mencia.
Carlos Mencia, the first tribute comic.
Oh shit. Man, that guy, for a while I was like, man, that guy's, because that guy blew up, right? He had the thing on Comedy Central, and then they find out that he was stealing people's jokes. That's crazy. I mean, that's that's like stealing somebody's song. And I mean, I guess in the music industry, it's okay like to do cover songs, but like to do jokes is like you're stealing somebody's like ideas. Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah.
If you don't know who Carlos Mencia, because he was big back in early 2000 maybe.
Yeah. I actually went to go see him when he performed in Indio, like right before he crashed.
Well, that guy was super big in the early 2000s. He had a show on, I think, was it Comedy Central?
Comedy Central, yeah.
The Mind of Mencia, right?
Mencia.
And he was super big, but then comedians started, noticing that, he was like doing other comedians' jokes. And
well, they said that he would show up at the comedy clubs in LA and he'd be like writing down jokes that he liked from the people that were unknown at the time.
Yeah, the good ones. The good jokes. Yeah, and then Joe Rogan called him out one time at the Comedy Store or something. And he recorded it. Yeah, I think it's on YouTube if you go and look for Joe Rogan calls out Mencia, like they got in a fight on stage and they're yelling at each other. But yeah, so anything that you wanna, anything else that you wanna add before?
I don't think there's anything else I can think of right now. Probably forgot to write it down. But no, like that. Yeah, I'm just glad that finally got to get on here, and I am planning on starting up the podcast again. Like that, I hit this rough patch, but now I actually just switched jobs, so we'll have a little more time. Probably not as much money, but but I'll have a little more time to start interviewing again. And I'm actually thinking of, I'm still haven't decided. I'm thinking of changing the format just a little bit. Thinking about doing it more like live.
Oh, okay.
And shortening it because. Like us, I don't know if you remember, we spoke like for almost 2 hours.
Yeah,
and then I'm editing it, and I'm like up at 1 a.m, trying to edit it, trying to put it together, and I want to do that. So.
I think the thing that happened was that I remember you came with a tall pack of Rolling Rock.
Yeah.
So towards the end, I was just like, going on.
No, that happens all the time when I do mine. Yeah. Well, all my interviews are usually last about an hour and a half to 2 hours, and then I'm trying to shorten it. And I'm trying, but this one's too good. So
that's sometimes that happens to me where like I have a guest that can talk like for an hour and 40 minutes, and I'm like, oh crap, that's long. But he was telling like some good stories. I think John Moreno is one of them where he talk, but it's you lose track of time because a lot of his stories are like, because that guy knows a lot of Calexico, and he tells you where this street used to be named and who lived on that house, and you're like, oh crap, that's you know a lot of your Calexico history. So yeah, it's kind of hard like to cut or edit. Yeah. And normally I try not to edit. I just go with the flow. But yeah, I remember that one time when we did it, I was like, because I think we finished a tall pack and I was like, oh crap, I think I was talking too much.
No. But yeah, no, guys, we're always drinking on mine, and the thing is that's part of the problem too. That's why I edit it too, because there'll be times when because we've been drinking, I'm like, so what's your favorite color? I forget what I was.
Yeah, maybe it's not that big. It's not a good idea to put a limit on how much you drink.
That's why I'm thinking I'm thinking about doing it live and limiting it to like 15 minutes, or maybe just have like a keg, pitcher, and then once that pitcher's over, we're done. I don't have a timer. Usually I'm recording on my phone, so.
Yeah, that's a good idea because otherwise, it could go on forever. And
the pitcher's our timer, man.
Yeah. All right, Jose. Well, I want to thank you for being on the podcast. I want to wish you nothing but success with your Keggercast entertainment. And yeah, I hope people realize the potential that there is in comedy. And start looking out for events that you put out there, or reaching out if they want to bring a comedian to a party or whatnot. Yeah,
and like that, for these, even for the private events, we can bring comedians from LA with TV credits, depending on your budget. That each event's different prices depending on what you want. But yeah, we can bring like I said, we brought 4 or 5 comedians with TV credits out here, and they actually call us and say, hey, any shows, any gigs?
Oh, really?
Yeah, so.
Well, that's good. That they're reaching out and wanting to come back.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you. Make sure you follow Jose on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Keggercast. Is it just Keggercast or Keggercast podcast?
Keggercast.
Keggercast.
Yeah.
He has some good interviews on a show, including myself.
Yeah.
Including Gil's on there.
Yeah, the Gil was one of the longest ones.
Yeah. But yeah, make sure you check him out. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you on the next one.
Take care.
Peace.